Eclipse Edge of Light takes the player on a journey through the heart of a dead planet, one that was once home to a thriving advanced population that succumbed to some unknown cataclysm. Like any other virtual reality game of this type, I looked forward to the haunting and sobering experience of exploring a planet-sized carcass and possibly finding a way to revive it. To my disappointment, the game is rather monotonous and, despite its premise, fails to make the adventure interesting or even worthwhile. Eclipse is played from the point of view of a silent protagonist that finds themselves stranded on an alien planet after being pulled out of the sky by its magnetic field. Left with a busted ship and no means to repair it, the only choice is to move forward. Eventually, you come in contact with a strange spherical object called the Artifact. A kind of alien Swiss Army knife, it's equipped with special telekinetic powers to lift heavy objects, can be used to activate panels and switches, and function as a key to open passages and shut down various defense systems. There's an air of mystery and quiet awe to this mysterious item, as if it was something not meant to be trifled with by a stranger caught in a strange land. It's rather telling that you first come in contact with the artifact as it rests in the open skeletal palm of some unknown humanoid creature buried underneath a pile of rubble. So then, it's greatly amusing to me that many of the puzzles you encounter involve throwing this powerful thing around like a tennis ball to smash stone masonry and attract the local fauna. Eclipse Edge of Light amounts to little more than a walking simulator, sprinkled with the occasional puzzles, neither of which are presented in any way interesting or compelling. You'll wander around a strictly linear path across the planet's surface, weaving through quiet canyons and long abandoned temples, using the artifact to interface with various mechanisms that block the path forward. Movement is slow and uninteresting, devoid of any significant peril. Breaking up the walking portions of the adventure are sheer cliff faces and high platforms that can be reached by using a jetpack, though prolonged use is restricted by its small fuel reserves. Statues and other monuments left behind can be scanned to reveal cryptic messages that allude to the rise and fall of a prophet with the power to restore the planet, an antagonizing black mist, and dire warnings about being forced into an endless cycle of life and death. The puzzles you'll encounter don't require heavy mental gymnastics to solve, given that the solution typically involves throwing the artifact at things or using its power to lift heavy objects. Death isn't something to really worry about because there really isn't anything around you to do harm or pose a significant enough threat. You can't even sustain fall damage because the descent is slow and safe. Why then does the jetpack have limited fuel to ascend but a seemingly endless supply to prevent you from dropping like a rock? I don't know. For all its mystique, Eclipse fails to generate any long-term interest. Everything about the game, its bland environments, the lack of interesting things to really see and do, the rudimentary nature of the interactions, feels dull in the face of other VR-enabled adventures that have done this sort of thing so much better. Movement is tedious, and using the DualShock controller to toss the artifact feels clunky, unappealing, and even appeared to struggle with some occasional tracking issues. What really killed my interest, though, was a sequence framed around an excruciatingly slow boat ride that failed to generate any sort of feeling or awe or wonder, and it would eventually drop me off in an area where the game glitched out and prevented me from solving a puzzle to advance further. Considering how bored I was at this point, it was really hard to push forward, even if there wasn't a bug to hold me back. In researching the game for a review, I discovered that it was originally developed for the now defunct Google Daydream, a mobile VR platform akin to the Oculus Go. And even though the PlayStation VR won't ever match the technical power of PC VR headsets, Eclipse feels held back by its technology. The skybox is poorly made, as orbiting planets lack proper dimension and appear as flat props that belong on the set of an Ed Wood film. There is no PlayStation Move support, and the DualShock only lets you control one arm, leaving the other to hang to the side awkwardly. This was because the Daydream supported only one single controller. Compared to other games on the platform, the virtual reality technology doesn't feel all that necessary. The fact that the game can be played without a PSVR headset and is also available for the Nintendo Switch proves that point. Where Eclipse Edge of Light released prior to the PlayStation VR and even the HTC Vive, it might have been a good showpiece for virtual reality gaming. By bringing it to the PlayStation 4 after the platform has gathered a fine collection of similar and better sci-fi experiences, Eclipse feels ancient, an artifact from the first generation of VR. There are better games available. Farpoint, Abduction, hell, even Skyrim VR that make great use of the technology to create compelling and mysterious adventures despite the system's limitations. VR enabled or not, I came away with the feeling that Eclipse was, very middle of the road. It's not terrible, but it won't leave a lasting impression. DarkStation gives Eclipse Edge of Light for the PlayStation 4 3 stars.